Well, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Dad Debate. I'm Jason Wahler with my good-looking pink friend over there, Talan. How you doing, bud?
No problemo. Things are good. As you can see, I'm sitting in my son's room. It was a big night for me. I guess before we jump into things, I wanted to kind of just break it down for some of our listeners out there, viewers, that, Jason and I, as we've kind of filmed this show and filmed different episodes, kind of made the decision to change things up a bit, because rather than talk about topics that are going to happen in the future or things that have happened in the past, we're actually going to talk about kind of our weeks and focus on things that happen in each other's lives on a week-to-week basis, just so that way we can, really give, more details because it just happened.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that is on a weekly basis, as we have young kids, we're going through different trials and tribulations every week. So I think it's going to be a lot more raw and organic. Again, we will still talk about controversial issues, things that come up, but topics also, they get more limited. And when we're trying to talk in areas that we haven't even experienced or gone through, it's, we can just give our insight versus actually going through what it is that we've gone through. So we're going to do a combination of both, but we're really going to focus more towards what we're going through on a weekly basis. And that way it can be a direct insight and you guys can give us direct feedback from that.
Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up each episode. You guys comment below and just let us know like a hot parenting topic that you guys want us to give our hot take on. We're going to probably call it hot take or something like that. But the idea would be like, do we agree or disagree? And just a quick 1 minute each, kind of what do we think about it, right? So anyways, let's jump right into it. Jason, I had a big week, lots going on with COVID and my kids starting daycare, but last night was huge. My son went from sleeping in our bed for the last 7 months to sleeping in his own bed. And it was just a really big moment for us because I actually got to stretch my legs out and do all this stuff. And, it's interesting, like, I talked to my therapist about it, and he's just a big believer in like not having your child sleep in your bed just for so many different reasons. And, they say like your child shouldn't sleep in your bed because of like behavioral issues to structure, I know you're a big structure guy, to independence. There's actually like studies that it like breeds anxiety. And it's for someone that grew up with a lot of anxiety and deals with it. I was like, that for me was like, okay, he needs to sleep in his own bed. Like, I think as parents, we want what's best for our kids. You know what I mean? And so I don't want him to kind of have some of those similar struggles that I struggle with or did struggle with more.
I have a question for you real quick. So what was the transition? How would it go from 7? What'd you guys do?
Yeah. So it was interesting, right? So, again, going back to my therapist, he was like, look, what you need to do is your child, because if originally we were just going to like have him fall asleep in our bed and bring him upstairs. And my therapist is like, no, you need to put him in his bed and lay with him and read a book and, till he falls asleep. And he needs to start in his bed and end in his bed. If he comes into our bed in the middle of the night, now my therapist believes you should bring him back to bed. We let him just, it was the first night. So at 5 a.m, he woke up and came downstairs and fell asleep for another couple hours. And I still felt like it was a win. It was kind of like me and my wife's version of meeting in the middle, right? It was like, okay, like he made it to 5 a.m. Good for you. Tons of affirmations, stickers, the whole nine, but I'm hoping I hope that, we just continue to do this. And
how did that make you feel as parents? So, I know you're attached to that.
Yeah. So that's interesting, right? Like, so for me, I know it's the right thing to do. So I kind of set aside some of my like feelings. Cause like, I'm more like nervous. Like, what if there's a fire? Cause like he's upstairs away from us. So, like, I ordered like I ordered a window fire ladder last night that I could like throw out the window. Like, cause I like think about stuff like that, right? Like, what if there's a fire? I'm not really worried about him, like, being afraid or anything like that. And then my wife more is like super attached to him. So like, she's more from a sentimental level. It's like sad. It's like the end of him sleeping with us. Right. But I'm stoked. I think good things to come and a lot of more sleep in my future.
No, I think you guys will be stoked with that, dude. As I'm somebody like I've shared before is having Delilah. I love having Delilah cuddle and be in our bed and stuff, but it's it's been very, I mean, I'm so stoked that Ashley took the initiative and really did like the sleep training thing all the way since she was a little kid, even though she
Yep.
still is little, but now it's nice. We've made her, she knows her room is where she sleeps, and we've set it up that way and structured it that way. And it does create that routine. And I think you guys will be happy that you did it.
I'll say this, the one thing that, and I'll end it with that, I think a lot of parents are in a similar situation as I am, which is where you had your kid on a sleep routine, COVID hit, you're like, oh, it's only going to last like 2 weeks. So why don't they just sleep in bed with me for a couple weeks? We'll have a little fun, kumbaya, little hang out in the bed, watch the Pixar movies kind of deal. And then like 7.5 months later, you're like, oh my God, my kid is still sleeping in my bed. And then it was like a realization of like, I got a new kid coming, a new baby. It's like the babies have to sleep in a bassinet. Then Bronson won't sleep. So I was like, all right, we need to do this. It's time. Let's go. And there was never a right time. It was like, oh, my friend's coming in town. We'll wait till the next week. Oh, we're going here. Let's wait till the week after that. And I just realized.
And I can't wait till you have another one, bro. And I'm going to be stoked to hear this conversation.
No. I know. Yeah.
That's good though. Hey, you're making progress, bro. That's where you got to be planted the flag somewhere and build off that. I think that's good.
So that's my thing. I'd love to hear kind of like what was.
Yeah, dude. So the interesting thing that I'm experiencing or Ashley and I are experiencing with Delilah is she's becoming very, very good at manipulating. So and it's crazy at 3 years old, like I was completely shocked when this had happened. So Ashley and I were both gone. We have a nanny who helps us out and stuff. And, when Ashley got home and she just called me and just said like, hey, Jason, just so you know, like Delilah's just in this really weird mood, super just like complaining, whiny, the whole nine. And, she was really attached to Senya, who is our nanny. And that's usually not really the case. Like when we get home, she loves being around us. And earlier that morning, let me add, is that she really did not want to she didn't want to go to school. She didn't want to be with Senya. Like, she's like just freaked out. So we get home and she still got this attitude towards that. And so after Ashley calls me, I'm like, whatever, it'll probably just blow over. I get home and I open the door, she runs up to me, daddy, totally just like looked at me, gave me the cold shoulder. And I was like, what the hell? It's like, okay, she's just having an off day. So a couple hours go by, Cindy leaves, we give her a bath, we go to bed or get her ready for bed, and we're in her bedroom. And she just looks at me, she goes, Daddy, I was so mad at you and Mommy that I was pretending to want Senya over you guys. And I was like, so what I heard her saying is like, I'm totally manipulating the situation. I was super pissed at you guys that you left. And so I was basically giving you guys attitude.
That is freaking like, that just shows that like girls are smarter than boys. But like, I think kids, like my kid, probably thinks that way, but doesn't like have let's call it the balls to like tell me. Like,
I just couldn't believe she could verbalize that. Like, hey, Dad,
sure, yeah,
I was so upset with you guys. I was pretending to like Senya, and making you guys feel bad. I mean, she was totally manipulated. So with that being said, I mean, it was like, I honestly was like, oh my God, like can process so much. At one point I was like, she's super intellectual.
That's the craziest thing I've ever, that's like the craziest thing. And I mean, crazy, like in a way of like, oh my gosh, like she straight up tried to like play you guys. That's
and so
smart.
That's something that it's tied into and she knows I'm the softer one when it comes to stuff. I mean, especially the relationship that her and I have versus her and Ashley. Ashley's definitely more the disciplinary and gives her a lot more structure around things, where I'm a little bit more loose with that.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I'm going through now, especially, being a person that's in recovery, knowing about enabling, knowing about boundaries and all these different things. It's just like, I guess I'm very grateful that I have a lot of these tools that I've learned over the course of time that I can, even implement towards a kid. It's like, they're two totally different things, but it was something I was not expecting to happen until she was like 13. So sure. I guess it was just kind of I totally got, and I think a lot of parents out there go through this, whether it's like you're saying, whether they verbalize it or not, they are so intelligent, so intellectual, and they were able to obtain so much information in those ages of, 1.5 all the way to 3 or 4. And it's like, I guess I underestimated what.
Yeah, that's the key here, is underestimating, like, because my kid fake cries a lot, but his fake cry is so bad that it's like clear. He goes, and like, and they'll laugh, But like, the point is that like, we underestimate, I think, how, like you said, how much information they retain, how smart these kids are at such a young age. And your daughter proved it by straight up telling you, like,
Yeah.
I pretended to like my babysitter more than you, or like, or I was mad at you because I was mad at you for leaving me. Like, whoa.
And she
Like,
had that all day. She held that mentality all day. That's so. I think for me, like in closing to this
yeah.
is there's like I didn't realize how receptive they were to stuff. So it's like even just like the way I act or the way I talk, or like even when it comes to cussing or different things like around them, like it opened my eyes to just be a lot more mindful. Especially, I mean, they pick up like when you hear they pick up everything, like you're like, yeah, okay, like they don't pick up as much as people maybe allude to. I didn't think so. They
No, for
literally pick
sure.
up everything.
You know
So
what? I'm so happy we're doing this structure now, because like now it's making me think, like, in relation to what you're saying, it's a little different. But my closing statement would be like that, or thoughts, I guess, would be that like I take Bronson to Target all the time to run errands with me, and to make him like be a good boy while I'm like shopping and not like being a complete like nightmare is like I'll be like, I might get him like a dinosaur, like mini Lego thing or something. But then he'll be like, "Oh, I also want this tractor," and I'm like, oh, "Okay," and I'll put it in the thing. But right before checkout, I like throw it on the other shelf, like so he doesn't know that I get. And we come home, and we're in the house, and maybe like an hour and a half goes by, and he goes out to the garage. He's in the car, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm getting the He's like, "Tractor," and I'm like, "No, I didn't get the tractor." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he remembered 2 hours later." And now so I'm learning, like, I can't lie to Bronson anymore to manipulate him to do the things I want him to do. Like, I cannot say, "Well, we're going to go see the animals." If I don't see the animals, he's going to hold it against me the rest of the day.
we're going through did the same exact thing.
Oh my gosh, interesting. Well, this is good. I like this a lot. All right, so this last section is basically where I take a YouTuber's comment, so someone that's commented below, what we're calling hot topics. So it's kind of a parental topic that you kind of it's a little hot, it's a little warm, you know. So this week, one of the users actually commented on something I've never heard about, and it's actually something I experienced in my life. It's called red shirting. And what red shirting is it's this idea of your child staying back a year in preschool. So they enter kindergarten a year older than all the other kids. Basically, they graduate high school at 19. And kind of the theory or the benefits to this would be that your child might be more athletic because he's a year older and might develop more of their bodies. They might be smarter because they're just older. And the older you get, the easier it is to retain more. Well, I guess not. Your child retains more information at age 2, but let's call it normal children, but I understand the benefits of it. It's interesting. Before I have you answer it, like I myself, so my birthday is November 2nd. And so I was always a grade older than Jason and all my buddies growing up. I actually went to school in Newport Beach for a little bit of my life when my mom and dad got divorced. But I didn't like that I was so much younger than all the other kids. Like, of course, I was in a grade above, but I was so much younger because I had turned, let's call it, 13 at the beginning of whatever, 7th grade, when everyone else was turning 14 that year, right? And so I kind of like would cry a lot. My dad and mom made the decision, and I as well was involved, to stay back in 7th grade when I moved to Laguna Beach School District again, when my mom moved back from Newport. And that's when I stayed back so I could get my car. And I think there's actually here's my theory on redshirting. I think if your kid is too young, they shouldn't start early, because getting your car when all the other kids get their cars is like, I feel like, kind of important in a way. It's kind of like, it's nice to feel included in that when everyone else is excited. When you turn 18, it's a big age. It's kind of fun to do with all your friends and whatever. Plus, I think, you're not, kids pick on kids because they're just younger, right? In their grade. It's weird. Now, the idea of redshirting where you're older, I like it, but I wouldn't make that decision until like, for me, it wouldn't be from an education standpoint. It would be from an athletic standpoint. but like that's too extreme.
No, I
I'm
think
open.
that's
I'll
actually
say this. I'm open to it. I'm open to it, Jason. I'm open to it.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting topic. I mean, it's a quick question. So are you 34?
I'm 34 November 2nd. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went from the youngest guy in my grade, because I'd be a grade older, to like Jake Pinot and Tyler Jacques were like the only two older than me in the grade.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So no, I think that's a very interesting thing. I think that's, I mean, growing up when we were playing Little League and stuff, it was funny when you go to the All-Star games and stuff, and then you'd be like, dude, is that kid like 14 or 15, like on the other team? Because he was huge. Sure. I mean, I see that as a definite advantage if you're in the sports arena. And, I think it also could play into the academic thing. I mean, just looking at kids nowadays, I mean, people learn at different levels, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, or I'm not for it or against it. I'm just kind of in the middle. I mean, I think
you're open to it. Like, if Delilah showed promise, as a softball player, for example, like maybe, I don't know what's her birthday? It's like September.
Her birthday is August.
See, like, and we have the advantages, right? Like, I should say advantages, but like if our kids just continued on the normal path, right? Bronson's in October, Delilah's is in August. They're going to be the oldest kids in their grade either way.
Yeah.
So I think I probably wouldn't redshirt Bronson, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think with Delilah, I mean, dude, she's already so advanced. I feel like it's like, I don't know, but it's an interesting topic. I think that's cool. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts, comments on that. What are your thoughts on redshirting?
All right, so that's another week of dad debate. Next week we got a couple good ones. Actually, I don't even know what we're going to be talking about, because we still got to have this week happen to figure out. Hopefully things are good. Yeah. Robert's sleeping in his bed, and Delilah's not manipulating her dad and mom. And that's all I got. Jason, have a good one, man. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. And who knows what hairstyle, if Jason's going to have a beard, if he's going to have a mustache, if he's going to do a side piece. We don't know. So tune in just for that reason, because that guy is so dang good looking. Yeah. We don't know what to do.
All right, guys, comment below. Talon, have a good day, bro.